Meriam kapal garis miring artileri kapal adalah sejenis senjata yang dipasang pada kapal perang yang menembak projektil dari tiub. Ia digunakan untuk pelbagai tujuan, termasuk pada asalnya, artileri laut hanya digunakan untuk perang laut. Artileri tentera laut digunakan untuk memberikan sokongan tembakan kepada pasukan yang beroperasi dalam jarak, seperti semasa serangan amfibi, dan juga artileri tentera laut digunakan untuk pertempuran anti pesawat. Istilah artileri tentera laut secara amnya merujuk kepada senjata yang dilancarkan dari tiub dan mengecualikan peluru yang bergerak sendiri seperti torpedo dan roket. Tentera Laut di Raja Malaysia, TLDM, menggunakan pelbagai jenis senjata di kapal-kapalnya, termasuk 1. Meriam MSIDS 30B 30mm Oerlikon, senjata sekunder yang digunakan pada frigat kelas. 2. Meriam Bofors 40mm, meriam sekunder yang digunakan pada bot peluru berpandu kelas perdana dan bot meriam kelas Jerome. 3. Meriam Bofors 57mm, sebuah meriam utama yang digunakan pada frigat LCS TLDM, frigat kelas Maharaja Lela, dan bot peluru berpandu kelas perdana. Bofors 57 Mk3 adalah senjata kubah stealth yang boleh menembak 4 peluru sesaat dan bertukar antara jenis peluru. 4. Meriam 76mm, meriam utama yang digunakan pada korvet kelas Kedah. RMN juga menggunakan senjata lain, termasuk 1. Seawolf dalam VFLS. 2. Exocet MM40 Block 2 SSM. 3. Triple Eurotop B515. 4. Silver VFLS. 5. Pelancar torpedo tetap 3 kali ganda J dan S. 6. Oerlikon 20mm garis miring GPMG 7.62mm. Bofors 40mm L garis miring 70 adalah meriam anti-pesawat automatik pelbagai guna yang dibangunkan oleh syarikat Sweden AB Bofors, sekarang Bay Systems Bofors. Ia direka pada tahun 1940N untuk menggantikan senjata Bofors 40mm L garis miring 60 yang berjaya dari Perang Dunia Kedua. Ia adalah meriam yang menggunakan single barrel, putaran 360 darjah yang disokong dengan 4 roda. Bofors 40mm L garis miring 70 mula berkhidmat dengan tentera Sweden pada tahun 1951 dan diterima pakai sebagai standard NATO pada tahun 1953. Ia digunakan oleh banyak negara barat dan diekspor ke negara-negara lain. Bofors 40mm L garis miring 70 digunakan oleh banyak negara barat dan diekspor ke Asia, Timur Tengah, Afrika, dan Amerika Selatan. Bofors 40mm L garis miring 70 mempunyai kadar tembakan yang tinggi, kelajuan elevasi dan pusingan yang cepat, dan boleh menembak peluru pelbagai jenis shell. Ia boleh ditembak secara elektrik dari kawalan jauh atau dari kedudukan meriam. Jika bekalan kuasa gagal, senjata itu boleh dikendalikan secara mekanikal. Menjelang akhir Perang Dunia Kedua, kelajuan pesawat jet membolehkan mereka menarik diri dengan cepat keluar dari jarak Bofors, jarak yang lebih panjang diperlukan. Kadar tembakan yang lebih tinggi juga diperlukan, meningkatkan jumlah peluru yang ditembakkan sepanjang tempoh pertempuran. Bofors mempertimbangkan sama ada untuk mengemas kini 40mm, atau sebaliknya membuat reka bentuk 57mm yang lebih berkuasa. Akhirnya mereka melakukan kedua-duanya. Reka bentuk 40mm yang baru menggunakan peluru 4365R yang lebih besar dengan peluru seberat 870G yang lebih ringan pada kelajuan muncung yang jauh lebih tinggi iaitu 1030m/s. Kadar tembakan telah ditingkatkan kepada 240 butir seminit, 4.0 butir sesaat, serupa dengan Jerman Flak 43. Perubahan reka bentuk utama yang membolehkan peningkatan ini adalah pengenalan dulang pemuatan yang condong ke atas selepas memasukkan peluru dan mengalihkan selongsong terbuang ke bawah selepas tembakan dengan bahagian bawahnya. Selain itu, gerabak tersebut telah diubah suai untuk dikuasakan, dengan kuasa yang dibekalkan oleh sebuah generator yang diletakkan di bahagian hadapan gerabak. Versi pertama dihasilkan pada tahun 1947, diterima pada tahun 1948 sebagai 40mm L/M /48 dan mula berkhidmat di Sweden pada tahun 1951. Perubahan tambahan sepanjang tahun telah meningkatkan kadar tembakan pertama kepada 300 rpm, 5.0 pusingan sesaat, dan kemudian kepada 330 rpm, 5.5 pps. Pengenalan peluru Bofors 40mm pada awal 1970-an adalah satu lagi penambahbaikan. Bofors 40mm L/70 adalah meriam anti pesawat dengan kadar tembakan tinggi yang mempunyai beberapa ciri, termasuk 1. Jarak. Senjata ini mempunyai jarak maksimum 12,500 meter. 2. Kadar tembakan. Senjata ini mempunyai kadar tembakan sebanyak 300 butir seminit. 3. Sudut ketinggian tembak. Senjata ini mempunyai ketinggian maksimum sebanyak 80 darjah. 4. Pergerakan. Senjata itu boleh bergerak 360 darjah. Bofors 40mm L/70 adalah meriam anti pesawat dengan kadar tembakan tinggi yang mempunyai beberapa ciri, termasuk 5. Kawalan. Senjata ini biasanya ditembak secara elektrik dari kawalan jauh, tetapi juga boleh ditembak dari kedudukan senjata. 6. Kawalan kecemasan. Jika bekalan kuasa gagal, senjata boleh dikendalikan secara manual. 7. Berat. Senjata itu berat 2,300 kg tanpa peluru. 8. Tinggi. Senjata itu kurang daripada 2 meter tinggi. 9. Hayat laras. Senapang ini mempunyai hayat laras sehingga 5,000 butir.
The Bofors 40mm automatic gun. It was the most prolific anti-aircraft gun of World War II. So effective was the Bofors gun that it remains in service to this day and can be found on AC-130 gunships. On film, just as in real life, the Bofors gun shows up in a number of different theaters, used by both the Allies and the Axis. So let's take a look at this famous weapon and some of the movies it's been featured in.
Gus, you can get into anything. Open up this ammunition. Yes, sir. Stevie, round up the neighbors. Gonna need a lot of help getting this gun over to where you can get a clear shot.
The Bofors gun was designed in the early 1930s by the Swedish arms company AB Bofors. From the start, it was an excellent intermediate anti-aircraft gun to be used against aircraft at medium range. It was not designed to fire at bombers at high altitude, such as this 85mm air defense gun. The Bofors was designed to fire at anything flying at medium or low altitudes, such as strafing aircraft or torpedo bombers. The Bofors gun would be adopted by 18 different countries by the start of World War II. By the end, the Bofors was primarily used by American and British forces, but saw limited use by Germany and Hungary, and it does show up on film used by all sides. These guns were also captured and put into German service after the British retreat from France.
We're gonna hang out the washing on the sea-free line, if the sea-free line's still there.
During the jet age, the Bofors 40mm L60 largely became obsolete as an anti-aircraft gun, and a more powerful replacement did take its place during the Cold War. However, older World War II Bofors were so prolific that many surplus guns have shown up in a number of modern conflicts, including in the Gulf War. Though these older anti-aircraft guns were less effective against fast jets, they've always proven themselves versatile. You can see this comedically used in a direct fire role in the Steven Spielberg film 1941. The Bofors gun fires a high explosive round, with the shells weighing 2 pounds, though armor-piercing rounds were also available. The gun could fire 120 rounds per minute, or 2 per second. In practical terms, the gun fired 80 to 100 rounds a minute due to the process of feeding 4-round clips into the breech by hand. Feeding the gun was a labor-intensive process, and the rate of fire was often determined by the loaders. The barrel could be easily changed when overheated.
Keep going, come on, keep going. Hit the sign, get the sign, keep going. Perfect.
Bofors guns were operated typically with a team of 4 or more. Early Bofors had basic sights and were hand-driven, but by the end of the war, many Bofors would be controlled by analog computers and fire control systems, which on naval vessels could aim the gun hydraulically in sets of 2, 4, or even 6. The maximum ceiling for the Bofors gun was 7,200 meters, or 23,600 feet, but in combat its practical ceiling maximum was about half that. The Swedish first manufactured the Bofors gun as a high-quality hand-built machine, and the British adapted it for mass production, which after the fall of France proved critical, as anti-aircraft guns were desperately needed for the defense of Britain. The gun remained a high priority for factories throughout the war. 19,000 would be made in Canada, Australia, and Britain by war's end. The British made several historic firsts with the Bofors, including shooting down a jet fighter, an Me-262, and the first of many kills against German rockets. The most famous use of the Bofors gun on cinema, and rightfully so, is its use in the Pacific. This gun was part of a massive anti-aircraft screen, essential to protecting aircraft carriers and fleets. In the Atlantic, Germany relied on submarines to smash shipping and aid to Britain. In the Pacific, the Japanese would rely on aircraft to dominate the seas. The Japanese plan to defend and defeat Allied naval power, and therefore win a defensive war, was defeated in no small part by Allied anti-aircraft gun crews, the majority of which were Bofors gun crews. It is estimated that just for America, 7,800 enemy aircraft came within shipboard anti-aircraft guns during the war, with upwards to 35%, or over 2,500 of these planes shot down. No insignificant number when a single carrier can crew 3,000 men. It should also be noted that anti-aircraft guns deflected countless pilots who aborted or abandoned their attacks due to the relentless fire. Over 60,000 Bofors would be built in America by Chrysler before war's end, with the majority of production taking place after Pearl Harbor. After Pearl Harbor, it was made apparent that 1.1 quad mount and 50 caliber machine guns were not adequate against modern, even lightly armored Japanese aircraft. Bofors and 20mm Oerlikon AA production would be accelerated. Several adaptations made by the Navy for the Bofors included water cooling, power operation, and ever-expanding mounting options. An Iowa-class battleship had 20 quad-mount 40mm Bofors guns, equaling 80 Bofors per ship. These could be wired and controlled in groups by a single director focusing on a single target.
Let's drop some lead on this motherfucker.
The Bofors gun by mid to late war would be mounted on virtually every US Navy vessel larger than a small landing craft. So when you see anti-aircraft fire going off almost excessively on film, it's not just to make a cool looking scene. The Bofors, along with other ship-mounted AA, filled the sky with flak against Japanese attacks on carrier groups. During World War II, the American Navy amassed on scale never before seen past or present. At battles such as Iwo Jima, 450 ships took part, which included over 1,000 anti-aircraft guns, used both to protect the fleet and bombard the island.
Did I get him? Did I get him? Close one, close.
By comparison, Japanese intermediate anti-aircraft guns were largely inferior. The closest thing to the Bofors was the Type 96 24mm AA gun, seen here mounted on the Yamato. One such issue with these guns is that instead of being clip-fed like the Bofors, they were magazine-fed.
Sekian, terima kasih. Like, share dan subscribe.